can wait.
I can wait. We'll see.
It won't take 2 seconds, but I need to myself.
Yeah, I'm assuming that.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes. Okay. I'm going to come up and stand next to you for a second.
Excellent. My friend, my dear friend. This is Tim.
Hi everyone. Obviously, this is the talk with Adam Berry, personal trainer, also goes by the Gym Starter. He's here to talk about how to be fit and healthy in an office environment, and we'll also be able to take some questions. Now, obviously, with this being a broadcast, it's a bit difficult, but if you use the well-being link that was sent out, the Vivox link, I'll be able to see those questions on there, and you can send them over, or you can just send them to me on Skype. I'll have my laptop open. So yeah, and if there's any issues with sound or picture, please try and let me know, but we are also recording it on a camera separate, so we should have better picture. Okay, off to you, Adam.
Thanks, Tim. And to everyone online and everyone in person. You all right, coming in?
Thank you.
Thanks for having me here. I like chatting, as you can probably tell already, and I like talking about fitness with people, and I like helping people. So this is a nice combination of absolutely everything. So my name's Adam Berry. As Tim said, I'm also known as the Gym Starter, which is like my personal trainer brand. And I generally try and just promote confidence and promote fitness to people who struggle with it. I noticed a long time ago, well, I've been personal training for about 4 years. Before that, I was a professionally trained actor, hence I can stand here and talk to people. So I've always, since I became an actor, I've always just tried to keep people very much on the path of trying to find their own confidence, because it's something that just came naturally to me. And I saw with a lot of people that it doesn't exist with many others. And there's a lot of stuff in this world that undermines our confidence all day, every day, which hopefully we'll get into over the question period. And so I came up with a Gym Starter to help people begin their fitness journeys and to help build their confidence and to just generally help people feeling amazing about themselves, or more amazing than they already are feeling about themselves, and all that kind of good stuff. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. I know Tim as he's a client of mine, which is awesome, and that's why you got me in here to come and talk to you. I also did a podcast for the CII. Have you listened to the podcast?
No.
Great. You told me it was the best one you've had.
Doesn't mean that everyone here has listened to it, unfortunately.
So I did a podcast a little while ago on the CII podcast. So is it called CII Radio?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you can go back and listen to that if you need to refer back to anything that you don't feel like I cover in this particular thing. So yeah, so let's open up questions, because you must be here to learn something about fitness. So what's your number one fitness question?
Oh, well, it was more general, really. What have you found as sort of consistent themes for office people who struggle with their fitness?
That's a great question. So I find posture is office workers' number one problem. Everyone's suddenly sitting up a little bit more upright. I find that working on laptops, working on computers, being forward-facing and downward-facing is no good for your posture at all. So whenever I come across an office worker in the fitness space, I always try and, so the first thing I start doing is really strengthening their back and trying to get their shoulders to come back a little bit, trying to get them to open up their body so they come out of a forward curve and they get more on what we call your wall at the back, which is here. So you want to try and imagine when you're walking, you're kind of pulling a wall with you. And that should just open up your chest a little bit. And it can make you feel quite vulnerable when you kind of just sit down and just go, oh, hang on, you open up your solar plexus, open up your ribs, and suddenly it's like, oh, this feels a bit uncomfortable. But actually it's where we need to be, because then it gets rid of the tension in the shoulders, and you just got to relax and roll them down. That's in terms of skeletal. In terms of stress, I find that's very high in a lot of office workers. Is that true of you?
Wow. I've got, yeah.
Fair enough. Anyone else find life stressful? Yeah? In what ways?
Kind of just time constraints, just like pressures to do stuff. But,
Yeah.
You know.
And being sedentary isn't good for us. It's not something that we're programmed to sort of cope with anyway. So being sat down for long periods of time doesn't make us feel good.
You're right. You're right. The body is designed to move. So if you take it back to like Neanderthal days and back to caveman days, and they didn't sit down at all. They were constantly working, constantly moving their bodies. And we've grown into a world of comfort. We sit on a train, we come to work into the middle of London, which is where we are now. We then come in, maybe make a bit of breakfast, sit down, eat that. We'll then sit down, open up our laptop, go through our emails. You sat, before you know it, when you look back on your day, you've probably sat down for 15 hours, yeah, maybe a little bit less, and then you've probably just laid down for the rest of that period where you've been asleep. And trying to get active and trying to get your body to move in that way is very, very good, just for your hips, your joints, your spine, your mental health as well. And also it can be good for your weight. So I try and push all my clients, one of my 5 awesome rules for life. I have a little system called the five awesome rules for life. And I try and push one of those is 10,000 steps a day. Do you achieve 10,000 steps a day?
I have no idea.
You have no idea? Don't you have a fitness tracker?
Well, no, and I don't really know how to use it. And how is it quantifiable?
In what ways?
What does it amount to, doing 10,000 steps a day?
Well, it burns calories.
Ah.
Okay, so every time we move, we burn a modicum of a calorie, or we burn more than 1 calorie. Movement equals energy expenditure, okay? And calories in is the energy we eat. So you're eating grapes, yeah? Quite a high in calorie fruit, but that's okay. You can have your grapes, don't worry.
Not judging.
All right, I'm not judging at all. And therefore, that's giving you energy, and then you either have to use that energy, or your body will store that energy. Okay, and so by doing 10,000 steps a day, we're trying to just find a very easy, functional way that everybody can start burning off a few more calories each and every day. Does that?
That's a very good thing I never even thought about.
No? Excellent. Any other questions about that?
No. What are the other 4 awesome rules?
Number 4 awesome, right, so the 5 awesome rules for life. That's a very good question. So number 1 is calorie deficit. I generally work in the fat loss field with busy, stressed out professional women. And the number 1 thing we need to get you to do, if you want to lose a few pounds, if you want to lose some weight, even if you want to build muscle, when you want that muscle to show and change your physique, we're going to have to start getting you into a calorie deficit, which means that we're going to eat less than we burn, right?
Okay.
So by eating less calories, by eating less grapes, yeah, and if you go for a run after those grapes, hopefully maybe not a run, but do an intense session, yeah, then you're going to have burnt more than you've eaten, and therefore we're going to be in negative calories over a day. Okay, quite simple to understand. Calorie deficit is really, really simple to understand, but it's not that simple to implement. Okay, so then my other 4 awesome rules for life lead into how to get into number 1, the calorie deficit. So number 2 is, I always mix them around, but number 2 is 3 litres of water a day. Do you drink 3 litres of water a day?
No.
No, you all got a water bottle with you? Yeah. 2 of you have, and 3 of you haven't.
Oh.
Hey, well done.
Does the water you consume have to be plain water? Because there's water in everything.
That's another very good question. I always push everyone to drink 3 litres of water a day, and anything else we have on top, coffee, tea, juice, alcohol, maybe not alcohol, anything else, we just allow to tick over in the background, okay? So if you focus on...
Herbal teas.
Yeah, absolutely fine. You can put that into 3 litres if you need to, but I'd prefer you just get 3 litres of water down. But herbal tea is probably the next closest thing to hit that mark for you. 3 litres of water a day, that's good for satiety, what's that word? Which basically helps suppress your hunger, makes you feel fuller, and all the rest of it. Water is also very good helping you sleep because it purifies your body, keeps you hydrated. Being hydrated is really important. A lot of stuff in this world dehydrates us. Office environments are quite dehydrating because of the aircon and all of that stuff. So 3 litres of water a day.
Is sparkling water okay?
Sparkling water is absolutely fine.
It's also calorie neutral, I learned that.
Exactly, and that's the other thing. So it's a good way to get into a calorie deficit. So if you're feeling the need to eat a snack, I'd always say pick up your water bottle first, drink as much water as you can, and then once you've done that, if you still need that snack, maybe you do need that snack, maybe you don't. But the water fills you up, and therefore you can then hopefully find a way of getting less calories into your body throughout the day. Yeah, water is calorie free. The only other thing that is completely calorie free is black coffee.
Oh.
So you could have 3 litres of black coffee a day, but I do not recommend that for your heart. The doctor would kill me if I said that. So that's number 2. Number 3 would be 7 hours sleep a night. Do you sleep well?
Well, I toss and turn a lot, but generally I don't go to bed for 9 hours.
You go to bed for 9 hours?
Good night. I'm a big guy. I need to recharge.
Good. Sleep for anyone else?
About 7 hours, I think, is probably.
7 hours, yeah?
Used to be 8, but yeah, 7
Okay.
now.
Why has it gone down? Do you know?
Probably felt like I didn't need it as much, really. I wasn't probably, if I was trying to sleep for longer, I wasn't getting the same as good quality because I did used to wear a Fitbit, so kind of monitored all that, and it was more light sleep than kind of the.
Yeah,
I know it's all varies.
Yeah, it does. You go in cycles.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. How's your sleep?
Varied.
In what ways?
Sometimes I sleep a lot, sometimes I don't sleep a lot.
Okay. And can you find the correlation between that?
No.
Just random.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
very random person.
Okay, that's fine. And yourself, do you sleep well?
Generally, yeah, unless I'm getting like a lot of stress and anxiety.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Stress and anxiety. Yeah, so
What interrupts my sleep is that I nap a lot.
how much do you know?
I like a good nap on a weekend,
I'm
but
a
then
napper.
but then that offsets my sleeping in the evening.
How long do you nap for?
About an hour.
Okay, yeah. If you chop that down to 20 minutes, you'll be in a much better state.
That's a good
But
idea.
you
Okay.
don't always remember to.
Set your alarm.
Set an alarm, yeah. Just happens.
Sometimes I wake up really early in the morning of a weekend and I can't get back to sleep again, and then like a few hours later I'm like tired.
Yeah, same.
Another good strategy to help with that is to, and I know this will sound completely alien to you because you're like, well, I work hard all week, why should I? But go to bed and get up at the same time every single day without fail. Okay, so don't worry if it's a Saturday, don't worry if it's a Sunday, even if you've had a late night, like a Friday night, been out drinking or whatever, if you normally get up at 6 o'clock in the week for work, get up at 6 o'clock at the weekend. And that will aid a lot better into what's called your circadian rhythm, which is basically the natural energy rhythm of the body for the day in which we understand it today. So it's important that you keep a rhythm with your sleep, because when we change our bedtimes, when we change our sleep times, we disturb the brain's ability to understand signals of releasing melatonin into our system. And in order to fall asleep, we have to have melatonin pulsing around our system, otherwise we won't drift off, which is where stress and anxiety comes into it. So when we're stressed, that's also a melatonin blocker, and that won't allow us to sink into that sleep. Have you ever started falling asleep and then jolted up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's like melatonin wanting to come in and then not, and then everything going wrong. So that's what we need to do. That's why we always say dim the lights at night, no phone before bed for 2 hours before bedtime. Don't check your work emails late at night. No, this, right? This is the one that gets everyone. No caffeine 14 hours before bedtime. It's like I can have caffeine for half an hour every day. Yeah, I mean, that one I find particularly hard to stick to, and I find the phone hard to stick to myself. But these are all strategies. I mean, you don't have to do all of this. If you walked out of here and started implementing everything I said straight away, you'd be overwhelmed, you'd be stressed out, and it'd be counterproductive, okay? So make sure you just pick and choose the things that you think you can enact in your day just to improve things, just 10, 20%. And then once you've mastered that 10 and 20%, we can add in another thing. And then we can add in another thing. But don't try and take the whole dictionary with you, just learn it a word at a time. Yeah? Awesome. So that's sleep. Any other questions about sleep?
Yeah, so you said no electronics before bed for 2 hours.
No phone.
No, just the phone.
It's the blue light thing, isn't it? So it'd be say with iPad or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Right. I mean, I also, my phone, so phones and technology give off a blue emission light, which activates the brain as opposed to deactivates it, which then creates all electrical activity, and then you're like, and you're buzzing, trying to get sleep, and all you can see is your screen in your head and all the rest of it. So a TV, there's some schools of thought. A guy called Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, who's quite good. He's a TV doctor. He has a podcast and a few books, which are all good about stress. And he says he doesn't mind a telly so much because it's not so close to the face. So that kind of distance allows you to separate. But I mean, if you can not, I mean, I don't have a TV license, so I don't have to worry about TV before bed unless I'm watching a bit of Netflix or something. But generally, yeah, no phones, nothing up close. Telly is okay, but I'd still suggest if you can avoid it, do avoid it. Because, you know, it's just good for you. Plus, the TV can cause stress in different ways if you're watching the news and things like that. Well, I don't think we need to go into that right now. Yeah, so there's that. Sorry, carry on with your question.
No, I was thinking of radio. Oh, I listened to the radio overnight.
Right, okay. What kind of channel?
Talk sport.
Oh, really? What an interesting channel to listen to late at night. You into sport?
Yeah.
Excellent. They don't have, didn't they used to have George Galloway on late at night, didn't they?
No, it's not late at night, but you know, like 10 o'clock. Like sort of, yeah. I just like it.
Yeah, okay. Do you fall asleep listening to it?
Sometimes.
Okay, cool. Do you ever find it keeps you up?
Only if I want to listen to something that's on later.
Right. I mean, I'm all for kind of listening to conversation before you go to sleep. I listen to a lot of meditative sleep stories, especially when my partner, she's a paramedic, so when she's on nights, I'll listen to the sleep stories to try and help me get to sleep. Good app for that is the Calm app. You have to pay for it. I think it's like 30 quid a year to get the sleep stories, but they're astounding. And if you want a couple for free, you can go to my YouTube channel and I've recorded a few myself. So people say, have a nice.
What did you say they were called? The
sleep stories.
sleep.
Yeah, on the Calm app or my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/The Gym Starter, or just search for The Gym Starter on there and you should find it. I've got two. I'm producing another one right now. Yeah. So they're designed to just help you drift off. They take on a little journey. Don't work for everybody, and that's fine. And you might find the right voice for you. You might find the right story for you. Some stories activate you. You know, there's a girl on there, an American girl from Los Angeles called Candice Reardon, and I just can't listen to her voice. Like, it just does not send me to sleep. It just wakes me up and angers me. Yeah, but I'm sure she's a lovely girl, but it doesn't work for me. But for someone else, I'm sure it works brilliantly well. Yeah. Any other questions about sleep? Did I cover your stress anxiety question?
Yeah, do you have any clues for overcoming existential dread? I mean, like every aging London socialite, I sleep like this. No.
Right. Well, what are you worried about?
Well, you.
I don't know.
No, the sleep story sounds like a good clue. Okay.
Yeah. And if it is like, if you're not settled when you're asleep, you don't feel like you're getting decent sleep, then I think slowly drifting yourself, distracting your brain from your day, which is really what it's about. And that's why most of them are based around journeys. So like, there's one about the train from Venice to London. I fall asleep.
The Orient Express.
That's it, the Orient Express. There's one about stargazing on Stewart Island. There's one about walking up Machu Picchu. Like, they're all like these amazing places that you can just imagine. And interestingly, most of them immerse you in nature as well. And nature is a wonderful way to help you go to sleep.
Well, there's also a family of foxes that live in my garden that wake me up at night.
Okay.
Do you have any tips for getting rid of
By a pest control person.
Yes.
Excellent. So what have we done? We've done calorie deficit. We've done 3 liters water a day, 7 hours sleep a night. What's my other one? 10,000 steps a day.
Yes.
Yeah, which we kind of touched on.
Yeah, but that's not sometimes very realistic.
Yeah, how
what
long,
way?
what distance is that?
Oh, that's a good question. I wouldn't know. I just know it's 10,000
I
steps.
think it's about 3 miles.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's
2.5,
not
3
so far.
miles.
Probably.
Yeah, 'cause
Sounds about right.
But yeah.
It's different for everyone, isn't it? Because my legs are a lot longer than your legs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not realistic.
Not in this office, because like when we was in our old office, there was like lots of different floors, departments. So walking around, wandering around here, we're all on one floor.
Excellent.
It depends on your commute, really, doesn't it? That's how I get it from my commute.
Excellent. Yep. So you can do that.
10,000.
Yeah.
How many steps do you do a day at the moment?
Oh, I'm doing 6,000.
Right. So you've only got to find another 4,000. Okay. No, all right. I don't mean to single you out or put pressure on you. Okay.
I'm just saying it's difficult.
Yeah. No, I get that. And strategies with which we can do.
And it's even difficult around here, because around here we're very enclosed around here, so it's
City miles, isn't it?
sometimes you don't want to go out. If it's raining, you don't want to go out. So if it doesn't make up your 10,000 steps to and from work, What tips have you got for us?
Luckily, I know a few. So that's very good. So let's open up the word steps. That's what I want to do first, okay? We're going to tear it up and we're going to get rid of that. So we're looking for 10,000. So what I need you to do is hit 10,000 on this thing, your fitness tracker, your Fitbit, your Apple Watch, however you're tracking your steps. All you've got to do is hit the number 10,000. Because what steps really means when it comes to one of these things is extra movement. Okay, it means that you've done something that's technically clocked, maybe burning a calorie. You've done something that's technically clocked some kind of movement that's either upped your heart rate or it's pushed you in a way towards moving in some way, shape, or form. Now, the easiest way that we can quantify that for marketing is do your steps. But realistically, this is why people are like, oh, well, I was driving and I clocked like 100 steps. Well, of course you were, because you're moving. Because, every time you do that, it's the same as moving the body to an extent, or maybe you have to do that 5 times when you're driving, and that will count 1 step, as opposed to if you did 1 actual physical step. So really, it's not necessarily about the steps, it's about doing the moving. Like just doing this talk, the amount I'm moving, I'm a natural fidgeter, but I'm moving a lot. I've probably done 1,000 steps stood here talking to you, at least by the time the hour's done. Right? So how do we translate that extra movement into working out there in an office? Well, we can stand up every time we're on the phone. Just standing up will help get your steps up and it will help burn calories. Really all we're trying to do is push you to burning calories. How else can we do it? Every time we're on the phone, take the call to your mobile, get walking. Yeah, I know it sounds weird and I know it sounds a bit existential, but you know what? Once everyone starts doing it, no one will think twice about it. And even if you are doing it and people think, that's a bit strange, why can't you just sit down? Then, that's up to them. If they want to judge you on that, that's up to them. If you really want to start taking control of your health and what it is you're trying to achieve, then that's up to you. And you just have to protect yourself against that and just understand that it's not interfering with anybody else, is it? It doesn't bother anyone else. There's people walking around all the time. As long as you're talking quietly, you're not like me, loud and brash and everything else. And I'm sure it'd be absolutely fine. So another thing, you can have walk-in meetings as opposed to sitting down in a meeting room like this. If it's just a one-on-one, you could go for a walk and do it. Come on, you got any ideas?
Clues thing. Cameron Diaz once told me that every time.
Told you personally?
Yeah. Every time the commercial, she has cues. So when the commercials come on the television, she does sit-ups, and when she's boiling the kettle, she does push-ups. Exactly. And when she's waiting for toast, she does whatever those are called.
Tricep dip.
Yeah.
Absolutely, another great way, right? So when we're brushing our teeth, we could do a squat. Maybe not because you might jab something, but I don't know. Wash your face. In the shower, what could you do? I don't know. I always tell people to do 100 butt clenches in the shower, and they laugh at me like I'm being silly. It's like, well, it's something, isn't it? You're in the shower, what else are you going to do? A butt clench. It's when you squeeze your bum together. Yeah. All right. I mean, yeah, it's a bit nuts, but what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is we're trying to up what's called your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and that's basically let's get you burn. We need to turn your bodies into calorie burning machines, and by doing this little bit of extra movement all the time is a great way of doing it. Another great way of doing it is fidgeting. Right, so like whenever I've almost been thrown out the cinema by my mother because when I was watching, I don't know, Toy Story 3 or whatever it was, my leg was twitching so much. She was like, "Will you stop? Will you pack it in?" She was always telling me to stop jiggling my leg. I was in Cafe Nero the other day and I was doing it while I was working, so I was so focused and just loving what I was doing and everything. My leg was going away, and I had a couple next to me saying I was causing motion sickness in them.
No.
Right? This is what I mean. It's what I mean about if you're going to pick up the phone and you're going to start walking every time you have a phone call at work, people are going to hate on you, all right? And you just have to ignore them and just go, all right, that's going to be a funny anecdote one day. Yeah? And I was like, okay, fine. Did I stop? I just switched legs, to be honest. So they couldn't see it. But that's, all these little things just add up over a long period of time. If you're looking at it and you're going, I need to lose 2 stone by this point, that's great. That's also extremely overwhelming. yeah? I need to hit 10,000 steps a day. Okay, how many are you doing right now? About 6. So you need to hit 4 more thousand steps a day. Makes it sound a lot more achievable. So what is that? That's over your working day, maybe another 500 an hour. And the more we chip into our goal, the more we break it down. It works well with finances as well. Not that I'm great with finances, but you know, if you need to save £2,000 a year, what do you need? £3 a day, £5 a day, something like that. My maths isn't that good. I'm really crap at maths. That's something I should have opened with in my introduction. And what's that? £3-4 a day? What's that? A coffee, lunch out every day? Suddenly at the end of the year, you've got a great holiday worth £2,000. Yeah? And your fitness goals are exactly the same. Like, big overwhelming goal, let's just chip it away. Get our chisel out and go, bang, how can I achieve it? How can I make this work for me every single day? And it's enacting the work every day that one will build your confidence the most, because you're suddenly ticking things as opposed to thinking you've got to do stuff and not taking action. And then it's also the fact that you build motivation, you build inspiration, and you just feel the differences coming. Then people start saying, oh, what are you doing? You have a different energy about you. I call it the fat loss glow, right? Whether you've lost weight or not, once you start looking after yourself, people are like, you're really quite, you know, there's something about you. What have you changed? What have you done? You just hold yourself differently. You just walk with a different energy. You just exist in a different kind of space as to where you were. People notice that stuff, and that builds your confidence as well when people start commenting to you about all of this stuff. Right. Did we get through the 5 awesome tips for life? Sleep, water, there is, isn't there? Now I've got to remember what it is. 10,000 steps a day, sleep, oh, food, right. Yeah, wait, don't write food.
Well, actually, before you say that, is there any exercises you can do while sitting at your desk, on your chair? Or
Apart from fidgeting.
Apart from fidgeting.
Yeah.
You can do your butt clenches.
Right.
Yeah, no, what kind of like, you can, every time the phone rings, you could do a squat. You could do exercises, you could do anything. I mean, probably the best one would be to just learn to hold a neutral posture when you're in your seat. Okay, so as opposed to, and this is amazingly exhausting, okay, but as opposed to kind of sinking into a seat like we naturally do, giving into the comfort of the world that we've been offered, yeah, it took me years at drama school to get used to doing this. It's just get on your sit bones. You have 2 little bones sat right in the middle of your bum cheeks, yeah? Your sit bones. And if you can just get on them, you can't really feel them on this chair annoyingly, but if you get into a harder chair or sit on the floor, you can feel them. And once you sit on them, kind of like your back sort of turns on and everything going up your back and up your spine kind of goes, oh, hang on a sec, that's quite nice. And suddenly it all settles into place. Your shoulders relax into place, your rectus abdominis, which are your ab muscles, they suddenly feel like they're supporting the rest of your body. And you suddenly feel alert, suddenly feel a lot less sleepy, and suddenly just by that change of posture, it changes the way your brain's thinking about yourself. However, keep it up, you'll start to get backache, you'll start to get shoulder ache, and then you'll suddenly, like, after a little while, you'll give into it, and then you'll forget about it, right? But say you did 5 minutes today, then can you do 10 minutes tomorrow? Then can you do an hour? Then can you do 2, and combine that with just looking after yourself a little bit more, chipping away, our body weight and building our strength and the rest of it. Suddenly you'll be able to sit there all day. If you ever walk past someone and notice they sit with really good posture and you've got no idea how they do it, it's because they have the physique to do it and they built that up over a long period of time. Problem in this day and age, especially like my generation, is we grew up on PlayStations, all like this all the time. Yeah, and then we get to work and it's laptops, it's Xboxes, it's TVs, and we're always coming in our forward wheel, and we've forgotten to just take a step back away from the world and just get back on our wall, our big wall that I was talking about earlier, and just sit there and just let the stuff come to us. Because it's quite empowering, but it's scary to have that confidence to allow the world to come to you. In the way the world is set up for us these days is we chase the world. Yeah, and it's just about removing yourself from that and just sitting there calm and just holding that really good posture while you're doing it. And then once you're in a good posture, if the phone rings and you can pick it up and you're going to go for your walk or whatever, you can do a really nice squat as you come up. And then before you sit down, as opposed to slumping down, as opposed to standing up like this, and then you're getting in, by the end of the day, how many phone calls do you have a day?
Good for you.
Not that many actually, me.
No? Fair enough.
Only emails.
Okay, well, you can make a pact. You've got to call her 50 times a day, right? Yeah, but what? Even if it's like 30. Say it's only 10. Say it's only 10, 12 calls a day. Every day, that's 12 more squats a day. In fact, it's 24 because you're going to sit down the right way again as well. Yeah, that would be my probably best suggestion there. But I mean, you could start doing some wacky stuff, but then people, you'll do it for a day, and then you'll probably feel a bit too self-conscious in the office environment to do any more.
Like push-ups every half an hour.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm all for it. I remember getting a foam roller out in my day job once, and my boss hit the roof. And I was like, well, I've got a game tonight, I've got a tight hamstring, right, I need to look after myself. She said, you can't do that on the office floor. I'm like, well, why not? Another great one, actually, was get an exercise ball and sit on an exercise ball, as opposed to a chair. You can get chairs that have exercise ball bottoms, so this part of the chair is like the bottom bit is an exercise ball, like half a domed exercise. They're very expensive, and I doubt not many offices have the budget to install them. Or a standing desk.
We have some of those.
Well, we have agile working.
We have some standing desks.
What's agile working?
We can work from anywhere. You can work in the gym, guys, 1 day a week.
How often do you do that?
We could.
Do you have a gym here?
We don't, but we have showering facilities downstairs. They're a little bit scary, but sometimes it's worth going to.
Excellent. If you cycle into work, or
For example.
yeah, perfect. Is that clear? Any questions on that?
What about head and shoulders and neck?
Yeah, if it's feeling tense and tight, my shoulder's getting quite tense doing this for some reason, I don't know why. But yeah, you can hold them up and just shrug them down on the out breath. Hold them, shrug them down the out breath, and do some neck rolls. And just open up your chin, open up your mouth. I mean, it's not going to burn fortunes of calories, but it's movement that's going to help you feel better about yourself as you move forward in the day. Yeah? Cool. Right. Move on to food. Yeah? Sure. Okay. So, my one awesome rule for life around food is how we build our plate. Our dinner plate, our lunch, Tupperware. I prefer if you start your meals with protein. So your chicken, your beef, basically your meat. And then the rest of the plate should be vegetables. Okay? And then once you put that on your plate, if you can see a little space or you feel like it doesn't quite look like enough, then you can put in your carbohydrate source there, which would be like your rice, your pasta, something like that. But basing a meal around your carbohydrate isn't going to help you get into a calorie deficit. Okay? Now there's lots of arguments on this, like I'm not anti-carbohydrates because I'm telling you to eat vegetables, right? It's not like I'm like, don't eat pasta, don't eat rice, don't eat a bag of crisps, don't eat chips ever, or anything like that. But if we're trying to lose weight, if we're trying to look after our health, then we need to increase our vegetable intake because our vegetables are full of micronutrients, which is going to make us feel a lot healthier. Eating better is better for our stress levels. Just sat down all day, in a busy work environment, got kids at home, all the rest of it. You want to just use as many strategies as you can to help you get through that. My other argument against it as well is I could tell you 1,000 times to not eat carbohydrates. You will not listen to me. And the way the world is and the way the human works is you will find it no matter what you do, right? So if we can reduce it when we are literally building our dinner, when we are literally building the food we eat, if we can push away from carbohydrates in those moments, it then allows us to have them in the other moments when we're feeling a little bit weaker, i.e. going out for lunch, i.e. in Marks and Spencer's trying to find what to eat. Oh, let's get that pasta and basil little pot thing that they do. Yeah, and then that's more okay if for 2 meals out of the day, you've protected yourself and you've gone, actually, I've nailed it here and I've nailed it here. Okay. So protein and vegetables, I say it every meal because it just sounds nice. But breakfast is particularly hard with that. What I would say is like eggs and spinach and those kinds of things. But having that every day can get a bit boring and a bit tedious. If you're not like me, who just sees food as a robotic source of energy as opposed to an emotional thing. But not many people are like me, I appreciate that. But generally you want to avoid the sugary based things if we can, obviously, because they're so calorie dense, as opposed to, we want caloric volume, which vegetables are, whereas, all your nice stuff, your donuts and things like that, your pizza, is all very much calorie dense, which means that you can get a very small amount of food for a lot of calories, and then you're going to have to save those calories somewhere else in your day once you know how many calories you've got to stay in that number one calorie deficit.
We've been having a lot of bake sales recently.
Big what, sorry?
Bake sales.
Bake sales, yeah?
We've been having a lot of those recently.
Yeah? What kind of food?
It's always cakes and muffins
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lovely stuff.
The blueberry muffin, we all think it's great, right? 'Cause it's got blueberries in it. I know.
It's got fruit in it.
Tomato ketchup has got fruit in it, baked bean,
It's a salad.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. So that's one of my 5 awesome rules for life if you're trying to lose weight. And also eating protein is really important because it's the key building block of the body. Our body is made of protein. It's muscle. It's, you eat muscle, you get muscle. That's how I like to phrase it. And it also keeps you fuller for longer. So it takes longer to digest and all these things. So the more protein we eat, then obviously the more food we manage to, the less food we eat over the rest of the day. Is what I was trying to say.
What are the timings that do you think?
Doesn't matter.
Whenever.
Doesn't matter at all. You have, like, when you get really down to it, so let's just say, so what is your name?
Catherine.
Sorry?
Catherine.
Catherine. Let's say Catherine's calories for the day is 1,600 calories a day. Yeah, I'm just making that up. Don't go away and go, he said this. All right, 1,600 calories a day. It does not matter at what time during the day you get to that 1,600, okay? As long as you don't, if we do figure out that's the magic number of your basal metabolic rate, which is what we need to know for fat loss. Yeah, it's if we go over that, then we're in problems. The whole, I did a massive thing about it the other day on all my social media feeds actually, that a banana doesn't know what time it is, okay? And your body doesn't know what time it is, right? A banana is a banana at 7:59 as it is at 8:01 at night, okay? Not eating carbs after 8 p.m. is irrelevant when it comes to fat loss because all that is relevant is our energy balance, is our calories in versus our calories out. And once we get that equation working in your favor for your goals, so if you're trying to put on weight and trying to build some muscle and the rest of it, we'll go, we need a calorie surplus, which is more calories in than calories out. But if we're trying to lose weight, we need more calories out than we do calories in. Once you get that formula working for you, you're off to a win. And that's why I'm like, this is the 5-pillar plan, the 5 awesome rules for life to help you get into that calorie deficit.
What are your thoughts on porridge?
I love porridge.
If you're in favour of leading with the protein
Right.
for breakfast.
Yeah. So whenever I have porridge, I get a massive scoop of protein and put that in there myself. Right. I do appreciate how hard protein is at breakfast. I know it's not easy. Porridge is great for breakfast because it can sustain you throughout the day. So another part of the whole protein and vegetables thought is I like to try and get all my clients onto an even run of their glycemic levels. So your glycemic is basically your blood sugar levels, and there's a big index of foods called the glycemic index. And your GI index tells you how much, once you eat a food, how much that spikes your blood sugar level. And then I always get it confused. I think it's the higher the number, the lower GI the food is. Or it might be the higher the number, the higher the GI food is. We'll always think it's reversed. But basically, you can look at this index and there's lots of, and you can basically see what it will do to your blood sugar levels. So I really like porridge because it hits quite low, relatively speaking, to other breakfast foods on the GI index. So that means that when we have it for breakfast, we're not going to get a massive energy spike like we would if we ate cereal, for instance, because cereal is quite high in sugar. So if we have our Frosters, our blood sugar will go like this. And then what happens is it drops below where you started from over the day. And you've all seen like a cardiogram, yeah, on like ER or Grey's Anatomy or whatever, when you see the machine with the heartbeat. Yeah, that's basically what your GI is doing every day. Every time you have something sugary, it goes up and then it crashes down, and it goes up and it crashes down, it goes up, crashes down. And that's why we get the 2 p.m. sleepies. That's why we kind of like get the hunger at 11 o'clock in the morning, because we're just like, because we've eaten a croissant for breakfast and we've gone like that, and you feel great for about 20 minutes after, and then your energy levels are just doing this. And then once you hit bottom again, you're like, oh, I need something to wake me up. So then you go and get something else like that, and you end up in a path of going up and down, up and down, up and down. Whereas when porridge comes into it, and where vegetables and protein and all these things come into it, is they allow you to get a much smoother arc of your GI levels. Okay, and that's what we want. We kind of want that, almost like the sunrise. Yeah, you want it to go up and down beautifully over the day, if you can, because then you're not going to get attacks of low energy, which is then going to lead you to having higher calorie foods. So I don't mind porridge, is the short answer. I personally put protein into it. You can put chia seeds into it or flax seeds to get protein into your porridge, and that all works quite well. You don't really taste them much. Flax seeds can get a bit bitty in the teeth, but if you mix it in enough, it's normally pretty fine. And then, yeah, especially in the winter months. I mean, I personally have a fruit smoothie every morning. But yeah, and I put lots of protein in that. But the best way to get protein at breakfast is eggs or protein powder, or some kind of meat if you can. But it's not easy. You've got busy lives, might have family, children, husbands, partners, whatever, or just getting into work, bosses calling you. You might have to start at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's just not feasible. I understand that. So then you have to just try and align everything to suit that. So if you can't get it in for breakfast, that's fine. Let's see how we can nail lunch. Let's see how we can nail dinner and double down throughout the day. If we're having, it's all about balance. Yeah, if you can't get it right in this first meal of the day, that's fine. Let's see where we can get it right in the rest of the day. And then you're not in a path of setting up your day with failure. You're on a path of setting up your day with a win, because you've accepted that. You've owned that decision that, no, can't do it for breakfast. That's fine. But you can do it, and you're taking control in moments of your life where you can take control. Got that? Perfect. Right. That's my 5 awesome rules for life in 45 minutes. And generally well-being in the office. Have you got any questions about fitness, anything else, gyms, workouts, anything like that I can tackle?
I've asked a lot of questions, but I'm
That's
inquisitive.
fine. I'm happy.
Do you have any specific tips for follow through? Because I found that follow through. So I'll explain what I mean. In that I generally go to the gym about once a week.
Right.
Which isn't enough, and it's generally on the weekend because I can go in the middle of the day when I'm full of energy, whereas when I want to go to the gym during the week, and I genuinely intend to go to the gym after work,
Yep.
but by about 4 p.m. I'm just so tired,
Right.
and I just never get there.
Right. So the reason you never get there, there's only one reason you don't ever get to the gym after work. Do you know what the reason is? Oh, sorry?
You're going to blame me, aren't you?
I'm
not willing to accept that it's my fault. It's definitely a reason outside of my control as to why I don't get there.
It definitely is not. All right? The only reason you're not at the gym at 4 p.m. is because you're not taking yourself to the gym at 4 p.m. Right? And I know, and I don't get me wrong, I don't mean to be facetious. I understand your question, and it is a good one. How do we maintain motivation? How do we fight that problem of just, I feel too knackered to get on with this today?
Well, I've got a friend who drinks an energy drink at 4 p.m, but I don't think that's a good idea.
That's not
so
a good
I was
idea.
wondering if you were going to suggest that or not.
It's more mental, I think, isn't it? Because I was the same thing. I used to get up running 5 o'clock in the morning. I haven't done that for ages because I wake up and I'm just like, can't be asked. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And it's just getting that motivation.
Yeah. Now, I have quite strong views on motivation, and that I don't believe you need it really at all. I think it can be great to get you started. Like, the reason you're all in this room today is because there's something about learning about your fitness that you want to find out, and you were motivated to sit here today, right? So we do have motivations. I mean, it's his job, but the rest of you, we do have motivations, okay? And they are important to tap into, but they're never to be relied upon for a long, sustained period of time. What is to be relied upon is the habit. So you don't have the habit of going to the gym after work at 4 p.m. because every time you're in the habit of not going to the gym. and you're in the habit of accepting that you're too tired to go to the gym. Whereas I would propose to you, you could do a number of things. One, pay for a personal trainer, yeah? And then he's waiting for you, and it's going to cost you money if you don't go. And when people pay, they pay attention, yeah? So if you've laid down 500 quid to a personal trainer for 6, 7, 8 sessions or whatever, you're likely to go, yeah? I mean, I don't know your financial circumstances, but a lot of people, that would motivate them to go. It's one way of providing motivation is money, okay? Another way of providing motivation is understanding that there's no external factor driving you to not take yourself to the gym. What it is you're just a bit worried about doing it. Just go and do it. Just do the hard work. The workout might suck, yeah? The energy might be low, but you'll feel so much better after you got it done. Yeah, and you've got to focus on that final result. How am I going to feel, not at 4 p.m, how am I going to feel at 7 p.m? How is this moment, if I say yes or no, if I go left or right, red pill, blue pill, how is that going to make me feel at 7 p.m? Is it going to make me eat better tonight? Is it going to make me sleep better tonight? And if I get it done just today, how's that going to impact me tomorrow? And then tomorrow, if I've slept better, if I've eaten better, my God, I'll have the energy to go again. And then suddenly you pack your bag. It's another thing. Do you go with your bag packed, take it to work so that you don't have to go home before you then have to go to the gym?
Yeah, so I thought about that.
Yeah, that would help. Yeah. Or getting up at 5 a.m. to go for a run, go to sleep in your running gear.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? I know, it sounds daft, but you're going to wake up, alarms can go off at 5, half 5. You're going to wake up and go, oh crap, yeah, okay. Yeah, and it's what we're doing is we're taking out barriers to you saying no.
I keep progressively moving my alarm clock further and further away from myself, and eventually I'm going to need a safe or something or some sort.
I learned that trick at drama school. Like one of the guy I lived with at drama school, he always put his alarm clock on the other side of the room. I was like, why do you do that? He was like, so I get up and turn it off, and then I'm up. I'm like, that's great. Although I just walk back to bed. So I use a Lumi light. So that comes up like as a sunrise light in my room, and then that activates my brain, especially in the winter months.
But you would recommend a energy drink, even like when you're starting to try and establish a habit?
I think if you need an energy drink, you should probably listen to your body a little bit more and understand that you're tired. I don't think tiredness is generally your issue. I think at the moment, I think it's probably an element of lack of confidence, element of fear. Not feeling empowered to actually just go and do it, not knowing what to do in the gym. Yeah, all these things make no sound a lot more appealing than yes. But if you was to get a plan, put that in place. If you was to understand your goals, understand why you want to go to the gym, understand what you're doing, and all of that's there. Yeah, so that basically, you ever heard the story about President Obama?
Which one?
President Obama had one suit that he only ever wore. One suit that he wore. He had 12 versions of that suit, but it was one suit he only ever wore. And the reason for that is because it meant he had one less decision to make every single day, which meant he had one more decision he could make positively for politics or for his country. Yeah? I mean, Tim will tell you, I pretty much live in these t-shirts and these chinos. They don't smell. I have about 8 of them, right? Because I just wake up, put it on, bang, I know what I'm doing. Don't have to worry about it. And it's one less decision, it's one less stress moment. It's one less thing that drains my willpower to make me say no to doing something later in the day as opposed to yes. Yeah? Does that sound...
That's really helpful.
Is it?
Yeah.
Good. So that's what I mean by follow. Yeah. And that's how you pick up your momentum. And then what you're doing is what I mentioned earlier, you're ticking your wins off. You're doing stuff. You're going places. You're doing 4 more thousand as opposed to not. And when we're saying yes more than we're saying no, we're positively affirming stuff in our lives, and that's going to build momentum. Yeah? Awesome. Any other questions?
I've got 2.
Perfect.
About the gym. So is it better to eat before or after you go?
Great question. Could you explain more? Why are you asking?
On TV programmes, lots of, science ones, and, is this better, good or better? And sometimes it's women are better if they're hungry or whatever. But I've come back from the gym and I've been absolutely starving, like I just literally eat.
Yeah.
Or if you go beforehand, could that upset your stomach and you end up being sick? Or do you burn more calories if you eat first rather than later?
Okay, perfect. Okay, lots in that question. Now, it's really down to personal preference and what your personal preference is by way of your previous experience. Okay, so if you find that you get a better workout in, yeah, if you find you can lift more weights or you can run an extra mile if you've eaten half an hour before, then do that. Yeah. If you find that you train better because you're not worried about your stomach, fasted and on an empty stomach, then do that. Kind of like the result is tantamount to the means, right? So what do I mean? I mean, basically, I personally prefer my clients to come to me not on an empty stomach because I'm going to generally put them through a harder workout than they put themselves through. And by having, literally it can be as simple as a banana half an hour before you work out. It's going to fill your muscles with glycogen, and glycogen is what we need in order to lift heavy weights. Okay, so what you're doing is you're postponing fatigue sooner. Now that's because I'm seeing a lot of my clients for an hour. We have 45 minutes of glycogen in our body. Our liver can store 45 minutes of glycogen before it runs out and it needs replenishing, and we can replenish that by eating some food. So we need to make sure that we're protecting ourselves against that. So if you're going to the gym for only half hour, chances are you can probably get through it fasted, but you might not, and you might just feel better with some food in your body. I personally think, yeah, I pretty much always eat before I train. Okay. Just because it gives me more energy. It gives me one less thing to think about. If I think about I'm getting a bit hungry or whatever, and it gives me one less barrier to leave the gym once I'm in there because I'm not hungry because I've just eaten, you know? And then personally, I eat after back on plan. The only thing I have directly after the gym is a protein shake mixed with a supplement called creatine, but you don't really need to worry about that yet. And then I'll just have that just to help rebuild my muscle a little bit more. But if you're working for fat loss, you could have that, but then you have to take into account the calories, like always, back to about 1600 for Catherine. You have to take into account those calories, and then that means you might not be able to eat later, right? So basically, it all comes down to that calorie marker and how are you going to balance your calories throughout the day with the training you're doing. And if you're going to get the most out of your training, if you're eating protein, you want about 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. And if you're hitting that every day, then you should be fine no matter how you balance it. But really, I think the best thing for you is it's not like you're a professional athlete. It's not like you're targeting to run a marathon. It's not like you're, doing these massive challenges where we might need to dial down your nutrition a little bit more. Just for the average gym goer who's just trying to get a bit healthier, just trying to put on a bit of muscle, just do a bit better and things like that, then you balance whatever's going to make you feel the most comfortable in every environment you're in throughout the day. Yeah? Okay. And that won't make your brain explode with trying to figure out all the right things and what's going to do if you haven't been able to eat it in time or whatever, and all the rest of that. The only other thing I might have, which comes down to what you were saying, is I might have a coffee before I go into the gym, but generally less if I'm working out late at night. Maybe of an afternoon, of a weekend, I might, like if I'm working out at 2 o'clock, I might have a coffee at 1, half 1, or I might have one at like 1:45. That's just because I know my belly can take it, because I've had years of running marathon, well, not years of running marathons, I ran one, but years of on the football fields, being a semi-professional football referee, and I got very used to being able to keep food down, but having to eat food in 15-minute windows in order before I did a game and stuff like that. But that's not for everybody, yeah. But I just do that to keep my energy up as well, when I need to. Yeah.
My other one was just when you're at the gym, what sort of what sort of things do you should do? So like sometimes people say you should do weights first and then you should do cardio.
Okay.
what sort of weight should you do or whatever. I'm always a bit scared about going in there.
Testosterone where the men are. Yeah.
Area.
There's no greater thing a woman can do in the gym and just walk up to a barbell, pick it up and start lifting it above her head, right, to make all the men run away from her, right? If you're scared of them coming on top of you, you just do that. Just find a barbell, pick it up, lift it up, they'll just part like the Red Sea. It's brilliant. Great question. So cardio versus resistance training, what do we do first? Part one of the question would be, depends on your goals, okay? If you're training for a 10K, 5K, training for a cardio-based event, training for a cardio-based goal, do your cardio first. If you're training to build muscle, lose weight, or rest of it, do your resistance training first. The reason for that is you want to put the most amount of energy into the thing that we're going to get the most out from for our goals. And therefore, therefore prioritizing, what we need, we can put the most energy into that. I used to try and lift weights after doing a very intense run on the treadmill. My weight sessions always sucked. Till I sort of figured that bit out for myself. So yeah, if you've got a cardio target, do the cardio. If you've got a weight-based target, do the weights. Okay? And then what weights do we do? It's a great question. Hard to teach in a little environment like this, but the 5 main moves you need to work all of your workouts around are the 5 compound movements. Okay? Compound meaning it moves more of the body than any other exercise you're doing. Okay? So we're going to move away from things like bicep curls and tricep extensions and things like that. And we're going to move towards overhead press, 1 compound move, a bench press, okay, a squat, and a deadlift.
And a what?
Deadlift. So named because it was how they had to move dead people off of the battlefield, because they ended up getting more people injured by removing the dead bodies from the battlefield than were actually dead. So they came up with a method of lifting people up that didn't hurt the back, so that soldiers got less injured. But basically, it's quite hard, and it's lifting very heavy weight off the floor. I would suggest getting guidance. If you are a gym member, then just ask one of the personal trainers just to talk you through how to do a deadlift safely. Just because it's probably one of the most dangerous exercises there is until it's taught properly. But once you've got it, okay? So basically you have a barbell on the floor in front of you. You want bumper plates, which are like the bigger ones. Like doesn't mean they're heavier, they're just bigger in size. Put them on the barbell in the end, make sure you cuff it so it's safe. And then you're going to put it on the floor in front of you. You can't see that. You put it on the floor in front of you, and then you do what you call a hip hinge, which means you move your hips back and down. And that keeps the spine neutral, because we don't want to be lifting with a rounded back, let's say. So we're going to keep nice and neutral here, and then we squat down into this position. You want to keep your hips above your knees. You want to keep your back nice and neutral like so. You want to keep your neck and your chin tucked in. Imagine you've got a shot glass and you're trying to keep that shot glass there. Okay? And then hands just outside the line of the knees, and you want the bar right up against the shins. And then all you do is you lift everything at the same time to here. Breathe, and then back to the floor. Okay? And that's a deadlift. There's tons of YouTube videos that show you how to do it. But yeah, okay, it's perfectly reasonable. Start light, and once you've got that movement down, once you're happy with the position of your back and everything, then you can start increasing the weights on the ends of it. I always think that kind of like the optimum that you can get to at one point is lifting your body weight 3 times. If you're doing that, you've got a great deadlift. Not 3 times your body weight, that's like proper power lifter stuff. Do 3 reps of your own body weight. If you can get to that point, then you've really got a deadlift going well. Okay. How many compounds did I give you? Overhead press, squat, deadlift. I only gave 4. Yeah. The other one's a pull-up. But the pull-up's really hard. Good to work on, but really hard. So you can change that to a barbell back row. Use that as a compound lift. And anything relating to the back. So what we're doing with those is the squat works the legs, the deadlift works the back and the posterior chain, which is the hamstrings, all the way up the gluteus maximuses, into your rectus spinae, your latissimus dorsis, all the way up your back into your rhomboids, your whole posterior chain, which is great for the posture that we were talking about with the chair, and about being open and honest. The barbell back row does the back, the latissimus dorsis and all here, also into your glutes, squats legs, overhead press, also works your rhomboid, your shoulders, your traps, and all around here. So these moves, they're all designed to hit as many different muscle groups as we possibly can within one exercise. Yeah, as opposed to just sitting on the machine and extending our leg, we're only working this one muscle. When we do a squat, we're working an awful lot more muscles. We're working our backs, our glutes, our quads, our hamstrings, our calves, our ankles. Well, ankles aren't a muscle, but all the muscles that support it. And therefore, what you're doing for the period of time that you're working out, you're getting the biggest calorie burn you can because you're moving more muscles at any one time. Yeah, you'd have to do about 2,000 of them. Yeah, to match 3 heavy sets of, a nice squat. And by heavy, that's relative to the person doing the work. Any other questions?
So is it fair to say that resistance training would be more beneficial for weight loss than cardio?
I believe so. Lots of people agree and lots of people disagree. But with weights, you can change the stimulus a lot quicker for the same amount of time. Whereas with cardio, your body will adapt to it quicker. Therefore, you have to start doing more of it, right? So you'll have to add a kilometer. You'll have to add 10 minutes, and you have to keep extending that because your body gets really efficient at dealing with the stimulus, right? You can go faster, but that's not always possible. People don't always feel comfortable doing that. So yes, I'd agree with that. The other thing as well is lifting weights adds muscle to the body, and muscle is more efficient for your body to keep intact or to keep working. So muscle burns more calories to maintain than fat does, right? So by adding muscle to the body and burning away fat, we're going to keep our body, I mentioned earlier, turning your bodies into kind of calorie burning machines. That's what that is. Whereas cardio just burns fat away. You don't necessarily build the muscle, which is why a lot of long distance cardio runners and stuff get injured a lot of the time because they haven't built the strength within their body to deal with it, to deal with the load that they're going through. And therefore, it's not great. And so you can strip away the calories and you get to a point with resistance training where you will have to start doing some cardio as well and stuff. But generally it's balance. I'd probably say an 80-20 balance in favor of weight training. Okay. And also in favor of how much time you have, what's manageable, how many times you get to the gym, what you can balance and everything else. Yeah. Okay. If you really must, you can put in like a very quick HIIT session on the end of a weight session, like 15 minutes on the treadmill, sprint, relax, sprint, relax, sprint, relax, sprint, relax, sprint, relax, sprint, relax, sprint, relax. And then that will help tick your cardio over. Cardio is important. It's important we look after our hearts and, we breathe in that manner and we work in that way. But yeah, for fat loss, for losing a bit of weight, you want to create a more economic machine. Okay. Anything else? No? Perfect. Well, thanks for having me. If you've got any questions about anything, you need help with anything, then feel free to email me or find me on Facebook, find me on Instagram. It's pretty much all under this name, The Gym Starter, at The Gym Starter. I do online training for the world it's called the 10-Minute Fitness Solution, and it's a principle based at your home where you do 10 minutes a day, every single day for 16 weeks, and then we can extend it after that. And it's all body weight based. So we do resistance training with the body weight, and it's all about just getting you managing your time, getting you moving more, getting you feeling better, figuring out your diet and all the rest of it and things like that. But yeah, if you need any information on that, you can go to my website, message me on Instagram, however you want to contact me. Please feel free to contact me. And I just love helping people, to be honest. So any questions you got, it'd be my absolute pleasure to answer them. All okay?
Cool. Thank you very much, Adam.
Okay.
It's been great having you in. And yeah, if anyone's got any questions for him, just obviously you can send them direct or come through like the Wellbeing Champions and we'll pass them on.
Perfect. Okay. Look forward to it. Cheers for watching, guys.